Hello everyone, Muli Bwanji, Mambo VP, Kef, Muli Vorunji. This is The Purpose Global, and right now I am in Mongo. As you can see, I'm seated with a very high profile man. Yeah, so we are in Western Province. Allow me to introduce to you Mr. Basil Ngoma. Mr. Basil Ngoma, take it away.
Thank you very much. Hi everyone, this is Basil Ngoma, as mentioned by my friend, brother, and actually a friend now.
No. That's debatable. That's debatable. All those who are St. Mark's, I think, anyway, we'll talk about it later. I don't want to spill the beans.
Yeah, so you're welcome to Mongo. This is Mongo, my place now. Okay. All the way from Livingstone. Now we are Mongo based. So yeah, welcome to Mongo.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I actually enjoyed the fish by the Lewanika. I don't know the harbor.
The harbor, yeah. That must be. Yeah, we call it the harbor. Mulamba should be Mulamba harbor.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So this is The Purpose Global, like I said, and we bring to you exciting and important topics that brings about revolution in people's lives. Yes, as you all know, that my desire and my passion is to help people discover, manifest, and maximize their purpose in God, turning ordinary people into influential leaders in the society. And as we all know, that I'm a preacher of elevation of poverty, and I preach innovation. So with me here today is a man I was with even back in high school at St. Mark's Secondary School. He was my senior, he was my older brother. That's why he's saying I'm his friend. I'm like, come on, you can't jump protocol. Even Jesus Christ had to submit to John the Baptist.
Yeah, like it goes sometimes, you find it's a bit tricky with life, you know. Okay. Because at that time when I got to know about you, it was a little brother kind of arrangement. Now as we are growing up, it's more like we are getting to link in a lot of ways. Now you end up being my friend. Because you're getting to relate on a higher level and everything. Yeah, so like we're now friends now.
Alright, interesting. So the years have gone, as you can see, but as you can see, the thing is that from the body types, for him you can look at his body. I believe those who are St. Mark's, you can tell. As in for me, I'm still looking the same way. Hello. Alright, so just quickly, let's dive in. Alright, so we were with Mr. Basil in high school, and now he's I think he's going to introduce himself. So what's your profession, sir?
So my profession is I'm an accountant by profession.
Great.
I'm a Zika CA advisory professional accountant.
Great.
So yeah.
From St. Mark's only.
From St. Mark's. From taking bookkeeping to being an accountant.
Oh, great. So he's an accountant. All right, great. Which means we have somebody, right, to tell us about some topics. About money. Alright, so we're going to talk about two important topics. We're going to talk about two important topics. Number one, we're going to talk about, as you all know, I talk about poverty elevation, how best we can fight poverty in Africa.
You know.
Yeah, because poverty is a disease, and mostly even the problems that families are facing today, they are poverty problems. Yeah, apart from that, we're also going to talk about some important steps that you can take in order for you to fulfill your dreams. Because for me, I think I'm somebody who is a witness. He started confessing his dreams way back to me, and I've seen his dreams come to reality. And I feel there are a lot of people out there that should know, that should listen to your story. Yeah, so I think we're going to look at those two things. So we're having a right man, an accountant in this house today. Yeah, so to begin with, sir.
Yes.
I've seen you on Facebook post about African problems all the time.
Yeah.
So, what do you think is the problem?
Firstly, I post about Africa because I'm passionate about this our continent, you know. Yeah, I've got a friend of mine who says that
Okay.
So chichine charo chwapipela, nicho chine.
Nicho chine.
Yeah, so that's what a friend of mine says. So when you talk about a lot of issues, he'll be like, you know what, we've got no option apart from elevating this, our own continent, into a place that we want to see. So I'm passionate about this Africa because I love Africa.
Great.
And actually, probably, I know so that we've got a lot of potential in us. So it hurts to see that a place that has got a lot of potential, but yet we are not moving, you know, we are more like waiting for whatever we wait. So that's the reason why I talk about Africa a lot. I love Africa.
Okay.
Yes,
Great.
in my nation too.
Great stuff. You can tell, you can see the passion in him. You can see passion in him. All right, so now let's talk about Africa. Look at the poverty problems that we are seeing today. When you see the statistics of poverty in Africa, it's quite bad.
Yes.
It's quite bad. And, you know, as a member of the United Nations Youth Partnership Platform, you know, according to the SDGs, it talks about poverty elevation. We want to, you know, to reduce the levels of poverty. So how do we embark? What are some of the causes of this high rate of poverty, especially in Africa?
The high rate of poverty, how, if we want to get rid of this disease that we have? For me, I would begin with, allow me to bring in certain stories from the Bible.
Okay, great.
Yes. Just for me to express my point. You know, there was a period when the children of Israel were moving from their place of captivity to the promised land. You know, and during that journey, there was a period in which amongst them, they grew that tendency of doubting God, despite them seeing the potential that their God, you know, this is our God. They knew what He was capable of doing, but they came in the disease of doubting. You know, they were crying, you know, complaining and everything. Then there was a time that God said, "Okay, I want through your leader, you let some spies go to check out this promised land that we have." You know, then these people went. They checked out, they came back. Majority of the people were like, no, yes, of course, that land that you are telling us is very good, you know. There's milk and honey and everything, but hell no, we are not going to defeat the people that are on the other side, you know. Then came these young people with a different mindset, with a different way of thinking, and they'll be like, hell no, let us just go at once and grab this our land, you know, because they had confidence in God, you know. They knew what their God would do. So what happened? There was a time in which now God said, okay, there's a generation that I need to get rid of before I proceed with this plan. You know, they were moving at a short distance, but yet they started moving in circles, so that the mindset, a certain generation with their own thinking could first of all die off. So that they can remain with actual people with the mentality. So the first thing with me, I think about Africa is that there needs to be a generation, you know, there needs to be a people that will rise with a different mindset. So we need a leader we need leaders actually in Africa that will say, okay, since the mindset of this particular generation, they think like this. You know, we think like we cannot do it. We think like, no, we need the Wazungus, we need the Western world, we need people outside our continent to actually get us out of this trouble. Of which, yes, of course, we are in a globalized world and we need each other. But at the end of the day, no one will actually develop the land that you're in. It's you yourself. So my starting point is that we need a generation cut. We need to cut a certain generation out and bring in minds that are ready now to say, okay, let's go at once and get this. So that's a starting point for us, a change of mindset. Yes.
Oh, great. Wow. Just the story and how you just put it there. I think I remember one doctor says, not until you change a man's thinking, you cannot change his life. You can not change his state, therefore you cannot change his estate.
That's how it goes. For me, that's the starting point.
But now, my question would be, how do we cut off now this other generation and bring in this new generation?
Okay, first of all, we need to get back to our history. When I mean getting back to our history, is that we need to revisit our setup as Africa. What makes us as Africa, you know, our culture. So our background as Africans, we're a people that submit to a certain leader, you know. Then we get to listen and buy to that person, you know. So we need first of all to get up to our setup and say, okay, what do we need now? Then from there, when we visit our past now, we need to look at we need to critically look at our history. These leaders that came before us. There's a crop of leaders that I actually follow a lot, you know, the Pan-Africanist leaders. You know, what triggers me is that why don't we go down in history and say, let's talk about Thomas Sankara here. You know what? Yes, let's talk about Thomas Sankara. What was his reason? What was his reasoning? His thoughts, his direction, you know. Even our own great Kaunda, you know. Let's talk about Kaunda. Let's buy into his thinking. Let us appreciate what he was thinking, you know, what he wanted to achieve. You know, then from there, we can pick it up from there and say, okay, now, since we have this, we create a base for ourselves. Then from creating our base for ourselves now, then let's look at the future now. What are we going to do? Since it's more like you as a person, you as an individual, there is no way you can develop if you don't know who you are.
That's it. That's it.
You have to first of all discover who you are. This is Basil. My strength is this. My weakness is this. What I'm capable of doing is this. What I need. So with that, that's when you'll be able to embrace what you need for you to have your future. So it's the same setup with Africa. We just basically have to go down our history. Look at some of the things that makes us Africa. Also look at the leaders that came before us, and from there we pick it up and say, okay, since now we are like this, then let's get the relevant tools for us to go forward.
Oh, great. Great. So this goes back to the whole story we are talking about, where the mind changing the whole mind, because it seems like those people, they had forgotten who they were. So in short, you can never rise above what you've not discovered about yourself.
That's not possible.
I don't know if that makes sense. In other words, your mind is your limit. The extent of your mind, the extent of your vision, that's your limit.
That's how far you can go.
So I think there is a certain limitation that we have that is in our minds that blocks us from unveiling, from unleashing that potential that has been placed inside us as Africans. Of which this is the reason why you're saying we have to go back to the roots. Because if you don't know who you are, just like I put out that quote, if you don't know who you are, you will waste your life.
You waste your life.
You know, abuse is unavoidable. If you don't know the use of a toilet, you might end up bathing from it. So not until we know who we are as Africans, we keep on acting like the people from the Western world. So we have to know what's the uniqueness about us?
What's the strength?
What's the strength that we have? And then utilize those strengths to move forward. Okay, so great stuff. Changing the mindset. You picked the story from the Bible. So even the Bible says, do not be conformed to the pattern of the world, but be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind. In other words, there's no transformation not until the mind is renewed. All right, so let's look at the youths. It's not only in Zambia, but I feel in Africa, because it's our continent. Let's talk about Africa. The numbers of employments, they are quite high. All right, the numbers of unemployment they are high. And one thing that I believe is that not everybody is going to get employed. And that's just the truth. In as much as there will be the highest recruitment, in as much as that, yes, every person will try, every government will try their best to put in their best, of which we are so grateful. But the truth is, not everyone will get employed. And it's so fortunate in countries like Zambia, it's quite right, our population is a bit lower compared to some Eastern African countries and some other countries in Africa. You understand? So what is the message to this youth? Because sometimes parents, they go to this child and say, okay, my child, you go to school. When you go to school, you will get done. And when you get done, you're going to get a good job. When you get a good job, you're going to get a big house. When you get a big house, you're going to get a wife and everything is going to be okay. So now this child goes to school. She finds it's a different story in school. Okay? So she goes there, she starts crying like the other incidents that was happening at a certain university in Zambia where a student is crying. Okay, let's leave that. From there, somebody did put in their best in school. They got their straight A's. They had their distinction papers. They are done with their school. They go in their society. There's no job. They move from one place to another. There is no job. They do everything that they can. There is no job. They stay for a year. They stay for 2 years. They stay for 3 years. And maybe even on top of that, their girlfriend also breaks their heart and they end up committing suicide. And they end up committing suicide. What message really has been designed for this problem? This is the problem that we have. But I feel we keep on talking about increasing the number of jobs. We keep on talking about these other measures.
And that's not solution. That's not a solution at all.
So what really is the solution to this?
The solution, first of all, the major part of our problem is the same mind that I was talking about, our mindset, As much as, for example, for me, I'm a victim of my environment.
Okay.
What I mean is that growing up, the people that we praised or the people that we looked up to, those were employees. You understand?
Okay.
These are the people that work for other people, they work for companies or they work for the government or they work for... But anyway, the bottom line is that they are employees, That's the people that we looked up to and say, probably would want to be like that man. So me and others, we are just a product of our environment. Our environment. And also, I was, the time that I was active in my studies, I'm still studying even that now, but the time that I started my accountants, I reached a point when I asked myself a question. I was like, there's something that is missing here.
Okay.
And what I mean by this is that a major part of our questions, it talked about me working for a company. Me as an accountant working for someone. Me as an accountant working for... So I was like, this is where the problem is.
Just recently I was actually sharing this with someone because it's like you just read my mind, because I was sharing with someone because that I did finance. So whenever you're opening up an account, they'll always tell you when you're working for XYZ company, when you're opening this thing for this company, and there was never a day where I was told in class to say when you're opening up this for your own business.
You understand? So that's where the problem starts from. If you think about it, just go down your school path, Just go down your studies, You realize the only information you were fed is you being an employee.
Yeah.
You understand? So now, how do you graduate? Then someone tells you, okay, Mr. Shush, go and open a company. Your mind has already been programmed with being an employee, of which all of us are a victim of. We are a victim of our environment, So now it started bothering me, because of this same, I had just that interest and the curiosity to know about us, you understand? Then I realized that there was something missing. You find yourself now, you've graduated, you are now in employment, you are an employee. Then now you get to realize that, no, actually, I'm not safe where I am right now, I'm not safe, But then you ask yourself, how did I get here? You were programmed to think like that, From my childhood, growing up, my parents were telling me, you need to go to school. The reason why you were going to school is so that you can get a job. You understand? Those are our parents. They play a critical role in ours. So you find that now, you just have to hear what your mom is saying, your dad is saying, I have to obey. And as you are doing that now, you're going to school with only one thing on your mind, getting a job.
But alright, so I'm going to put you a bit on fire here. So what's your perception when it comes to jobs? Do you think having a job, because do you think having a job is a bad thing? Because as long as you have a source of income. What do you think?
Having a job is a good thing, a really good thing. It has helped a lot of people. It is helping us, at least we are able to take care of our families. But looking at a job as a job alone, that's where the danger comes in. What if you're fired tomorrow? We need to look at the job as a seed.
Okay.
You understand? There is no farmer who's going to go in the field and start planting.
Okay.
You will need a seed somewhere. So we need to look at our jobs and say, this nimbeo is in seed yangai.
Okay.
What happens with the seed? Don't eat that seed, Use the job now to say, what if tomorrow I'm fired? I'll need somewhere where I can lay my head, where I can lean on, and that's a job. So having a job is very important.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. So great. So you've just talked about, just how we are programmed, how there's a system from the time we are growing up. So in short, what you're saying is that there's no sustainability with the job.
there is no sustainability. That's why we are experiencing a lot of difficulties in our community.
You know, I was just interacting with one of the CEOs from South. He's running a company in Uganda. So we're there doing a show, with him, and he said something, and he said, "Your children will never inherit your job."
That's just.
And he said it point blank. Yeah, he asked the interviewer the question. He said, "Is your child going to inherit a job?" Is your child? He repeated the question. Is your child going to inherit your job?
And the answer is no.
The answer is no. So what happens? Does it mean that everyone now should start from scratch? It's like we are all moving in the same circle. Everyone should start from the grinding point so everyone has to always starting from scratch and start rising up again. Why is it that maybe, just like you said, probably a family can put up a foundation and the base where the children comes in and grow from there, build up from there. You understand? And then I was also sorry, just a quick one, because you've really opened up my mind. I was doing something at the bank, so I was talking to one of the bank managers, and they kept on giving me these processes of opening up an account, opening a business account. And I went, they gave me the first procedure. The other time I went again, they told me something is missing. That time I said something is missing. Then I said, you people, in my whole curriculum I did finance. Why haven't I been taught why isn't this taught how to open up a business account for all the entrepreneurs? What if somebody comes from the village? What happens? What really happens? I was really concerned. The same issue goes to the parkrun. Because parkrun is a procedure of opening. You cannot say that we are entrepreneurs, we should open up businesses. Yet, we don't even know the procedures of opening up a business.
Yes.
So, those are some of the gaps that I've just...
it all goes down to, us as human beings, as Africans, you've got a lot actually that we need to do. And like you mentioned, for example, a farmer is coming from the village, that's why they're scared of visiting the bank, because now you'll be telling them you need this, you need that, and the most worst things that will be using English.
You need this document.
You need a referee.
You need the company profile. Hey man, I'm selling maize. I'm selling maize and I'm making money.
So I think the other idea that we need to do is that we need to tailor these requirements to our needs.
Okay.
Not we tailor the farmer to what the bank needs, but actually we need to set up systems in the bank whereby a bank will look at the farmer and say, okay, here's the farmer. What I need is to help this farmer do this and that. If he needs to open a company, if he needs to save money, then now you tailor the requirements to the need of the bank so that you can help the farmer and say, okay, for now I think what you need is, since your setup is like this, probably you do this for us. You need to bring this. You need to do that. I think it will be much easier.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Great. All right. So I think we've discussed much about that, and I think at least we believe that we have taken an effort, and people are going to watch this video. The one who listen to this at least and hear us out. All right. So this is a huge topic. When you start talking about some of the what I've picked from this is that it's a mindset.
It's a mindset.
So number two, what I've picked from this is that it's the environment that affects our mindset. So not until we change our environment, therefore we'll not change our mindset.
And we need to pick one thing from there.
Okay.
You need to understand that an environment comes about because of the people that are inside that environment.
Okay.
You understand? I'll give you an example of where we are in Mongo.
Okay.
People talk about, okay, Mongo's got sand, how come there are certain trees that are there, that environment, it's as a result of the place.
Okay.
Understand? But our environment as humans also, not talking about the nature part, but that environment that we create a system as human beings, it is as a result of us human beings. It's us actually who makes that environment to be the way it is.
Okay.
You understand? So, and also the point that we need to take that what's more important is getting the conversation started.
Okay.
The first person might not get it right.
Okay.
The second person, he needs to pick it up from the first person and say, okay, Mr. Ngoma talked about this. He missed somewhere here. Even as we are having a conversation here, I'm very confident that there'll be someone watching and they'll be like, oh, these guys are talking about this. Yes. But I feel like they missed it somewhere here. Yeah. And that's where that person now needs to pick it up, polish what we are talking about, then get what we missed out and say, let me have a conversation on this. And again, the other person, it's more like a chain. That's how a generation will start to grow. What's more important is get going.
Get going.
Yes.
Okay. Great. All right. So I think we've exhausted much on that. Let's go to the second, my second question. So you went to this environment, to the school. You've achieved your dreams. I am one of the witnesses who saw your dreams come to reality. And there are some important steps that you had to put, because I believe that success does not just come overnight. You had to do something for you to be where you are today. So to those people who are out there, probably, what are some of the practical steps that you implemented in order for you to fulfill your dreams, so somebody out there can be inspired?
Okay, so the practical steps for me, I think I started with the most important thing was the desire. You know, I had a desire to be an accountant, you know, and how I grew this desire was when I realized that I was in love with this profession. You know, I had to take time and find out, you know, who's an accountant.
Okay.
Yeah, in the real world, I mean, who can I see as an accountant? Then there's certain people that were there in my life, you know. People that I could see, we were not even close, but I could see, so that's one is an accountant. So I would watch them, you understand? I would say, okay, sure, look at the shoe, look at that, you understand? So at that point, the desire started to
grow.
Yeah, I was nurturing it, and it was growing, and it was, you know, going way forward. And now, it was now sealed in my mind. I was like, okay, this is what I want to do.
Okay.
You know, for me, I knew what I wanted to do as early as I was at grade 8.
Oh, great.
I known that I wanted
as early as grade 8.
I knew that, okay, I want to be an accountant, and it was sealed for me, you know. Then secondly, what someone, you know, what we need to do is this. You as a young person, you say, okay, this, I need to be this. The next, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an accountant, I want to be a lawyer. The next thing is, before you start your journey, let's talk about the desire first. Then the second thing, let's go at the end of that profession. Let's look at the product of an accountant. You know, then you go to the end of it. You are at the starting point, but try to visit the end and say, so what do accountants do? What do I need to do? You understand? Then you get to realize that as I was interacting with people, they started telling me, you know what, if you want to study accountants, you have to be studying. It's a school. You just consider a school like it, you know. You hear people talk about accounts is Sisira. Because we know people that have been writing all their life, you know, such things. Then you go at the far end and you inquire, say, why is it like this? You know? They tell you, no, you have to be committed. Accountancy is in this stage. It's like this. You know, okay. Then you go back now to where you're starting from. So that along the way as you are going, you shouldn't go the other way, because if you don't know what it takes to be as an accountant, it is easier for you to drop it or to just go the other way. But if now you've got information to say, an accountant needs to behave like this, you need to do this, you need to study like this. As you are going now, you'll be able to tell, okay, I'm in the right path.
Okay, great. I hope you've heard those important steps. It starts with the desire. There must be a burning desire. Yeah. All right. Great. So now you achieved your dreams. There are people out there probably who went to school and probably on the way they lost their way, and now they feel like their dreams have been shattered and they are stuck somewhere, and they feel like it's the end of the world. What's the message that you have to such people? What can you tell them?
The message I have for them is that firstly, it is humanly actually to think like, okay, everything is done now. You understand? All I wanted was to be, or let me say, all I wanted to be was an accountant. But now I have failed. This course has made me, I think I'm done. You know, I'm done for my life. And you know, as youths, the only easiest route to exit, it's abuse of alcohol, drugs, and other things. That's the easiest way we think immediately. But you need to understand that the profession you want, or that job you want, or whatever you're after, it doesn't make you.
Okay.
You understand? Your life actually is more worthy than that profession.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
The acquiring of a paper shouldn't actually, shouldn't actually define you as a person.
Yeah.
Understand?
Yeah.
That is just something that is just a status that you wanted.
Yeah.
Yes, so let's start from there. You need to understand that fact. So if you lost it, if at all you dropped at some point, you are down, what you need to understand first of all is you as a person. You are still in there. You can still grow it and pick it up from wherever you are. Yes.
All right. I hope you've heard that message. That was a very, very powerful message. All right. So action points, quick ones. So we've talked about all this. We've talked about all that. What are some of the action points that you feel that youths should implement? It's just action points. We've talked about poverty alleviation. What does that, something that we should start? Youth should start doing this. They should start doing this. What are some of the action points?
Oh, the action points, I think I will not limit them or make them form as like that. But first of all, find out about your family. You understand? Go down in history. Study your family. Know about your great grandfather, mother, where they came from, what they were doing, and the things that they were into, even them growing up, you understand? What they achieved, what they did not achieve, what they wanted to do, why they didn't do all those things. Do that. Then secondly, don't be limited to what you see around. There's a tendency of us, for me, I'm from Livingstone, and mostly when you go back to visit Livingstone, there are certain people that are just limited to Livingstone, you understand? For them, they just think like, but for me, don't limit yourself, you understand? You need to know that the world is open now. Earlier on, I mentioned about us being in a globalized village and everything. So don't limit yourself to a place. Yes, don't limit yourself to a place. Be open. Say, how do people in Lusaka live? How do people in Johannesburg, how do they live? Yeah, so try to do that. Then secondly, get in touch with the culture. I think culture is very important. When I talk about culture, I'm not talking about Vinyao.
Zambians and Vinyao.
Yes. You can also try to find out about the Vinyao. There's no problem, but that's not what I mean right now. About our cultural setup, right? Yes, our cultural setup. Yes, try to make an understanding. Then also just embrace knowing the word, reading and everything. Yes.
Okay. Great. I think you have enjoyed. I call this man a man of wisdom. Yeah, so I've seen him. He really put in his best. He has really sacrificed, and he went for sleepless nights here. He used to study a lot in high school, and he's where he is today not because he just dreamt and said, "Okay, I'm going to be there." He put in his effort. So to all the youths out there, I hope you are inspired with this video. Not only the youths, to everyone out there, I hope you are inspired by this video. Otherwise, thank you so much, and God bless you, Mr. Basil Ngoma. Thank you so much for coming through this platform. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you very much for visiting Mongo. I'm so happy. The last time I saw you, it was I can't remember.
Years
back. But I'm so happy that he was here and he visited. Okay. Yeah, I'm very happy.
And we had to cook up something like this.
Yes.
Okay, alright. Alright, thank you so much.